Today's webinar is social media planning for trade show. And my name is Amber Gomez. I'm the marketing and communications manager here at the Western Retail Lumber Association. And before we get started, I'd like to address a couple of housekeeping notes. We have everyone muted, but you should be able to hear us, so me and our speaker. And if you want to ask questions, I ask that you use that chat or Q&A function. We've already had a few people chiming in there, so you guys know what you're doing. It's at the bottom of your screen, so just type in your questions during the webinar and we will monitor them and ask them at the very end. And a copy of this recording will be on our website after. So if you have to pop out or you want to share it with some folks after, there's that opportunity as well. And I would love to introduce our speaker today, Charmaine Jennings. She's the owner of Strategic Charm Boutique. Charmaine is a social media guru who helps entrepreneurs share their brand story and connect with dream clients and customers on Instagram and other online platforms. She works hard to help small business owners find their voice and define their message so they can confidently communicate their passion to their industry, the work they do, and the value of their offers. So thank you so much for joining us, Charmaine. We are so excited to have you. I will let you share your screen so that you can take it away with your great presentation.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that introduction and for inviting me to present for you guys today. I've done quite a few webinars actually for WRLA in the last few years, and social media is always changing. There's always something new, so I'm always excited to connect with new members and talk about new things happening in social media and kind of marketing in general. But today we are really focusing on social media planning for trade shows. I am so happy that you guys are able to do your trade show in January. I know last year you had it planned and I was all excited to do this particular webinar for you guys, but unfortunately, events just were different last year, but I know you guys are going to rock it this year, and I'm happy to be able to help you get ready with your social media. So today we are going to talk about how to prepare your social media platforms before the trade show. We're also going to talk about what you're going to do with your social media platforms during the trade show, and a couple of things you want to think about after the trade show as well. First, let's talk about how to prepare your social media platforms. Now, I know you guys are already busy getting ready, thinking about your booths and your products and your services and how you're going to interact with your attendees at the trade show, but social media is a big part of your business and your marketing, and it's something you want to think about in advance before you actually get to the trade show. So first, let's talk about Instagram. Instagram is my core platform. It's my favorite platform, but I know a lot of people get really frustrated and flustered because there's so many different layers to Instagram, and sometimes it's hard to navigate them all. So we're going to be talking about that in this webinar today. So I've prepared a little bit of an Instagram prep checklist when it comes to preparing for your trade show. The first thing you want to do is post fresh content. You want to schedule your content for the week of the trade show as well. That week is going to go by really, really fast. There's going to be so many things going on. So if you're not already scheduling your content, now is a good time to get into the habit of it. We're going to be talking about what you need to do in your Instagram bio to keep it updated and fresh for your audience. We're going to talk about refreshing your Instagram highlights and sharing a countdown to your stories to remind people of when the trade show is going down. So first, let's talk about posting fresh content to Instagram. If you are someone who has an Instagram for your business, I really hope you do, depending on who your target audience is, you want to make sure that you are posting consistently, right? Honestly, you should be posting consistently throughout the year if possible, but especially in advance of your trade show. A lot of people are going to a business's Instagram or Facebook pages before going to their website. And if they go to your Instagram and they see your last post was from 3 months ago, they might think that you are maybe slowing down in business or taking a pause, or that you just don't have new information to share with them, right? So you want to make sure if you haven't been posting consistently throughout the year or throughout the last couple of months, now's a good time to get into the habit of it. So when people do come to your Instagram page, there's new content there for them to engage with. When it comes to posting fresh content, there's lots of different content ideas you can draw from, but we're going to talk about 4 key ideas here. One is going to be different promos with information about the trade show. So in addition to the WRLA platforms, you also want to be promoting the trade show as well, because you have a different audience from them by chance, and you want to make sure you're getting the word out and getting as many attendees to the trade show as possible. Sometimes when you're thinking about promoting a event like the trade show or product or service, some people think, you know what, I don't want to annoy or bombard my audience talking about the same thing over and over and over again. The key there is to think about different ways to present that same information, right? So an exercise to get people to do is think about all the benefits or all the features, all the key information about the trade show, and use each one of those benefits or key information to create a different post to promote that event, right? So maybe in one post, you're talking about who the event is for, what type of attendees should go to the event, and what they can expect. Another post can be you talking about what's going to be present at your booth in particular, or information about how to get tickets or where to find it or things like that. Think about all the different important aspects of the event and find different ways to talk about it in your feed, in your stories, or maybe even in an Instagram live. You also want to share information about your company, right? Think about when your company was established. You want to talk about some of your key products and services that you offer. What are the benefits of those products and services? And what makes your company unique? Even if you've been around for 20, 50, 100 years, there are still people out there who haven't heard of you and are new to your brand or to your business, right? So why not share some tidbits about your company so people can get to know you a bit better, so you can build up that know, like, and trust factor, right? When it comes to marketing, people have to have that feeling that they know you, like you, and trust you before they're willing to invest in the products and services that you have to offer. You also want to share some great behind the scenes content as well. So in addition to promoting the trade show on your platform on Instagram, why not share some behind the scenes about what products you're bringing to your booth, or how your booth is going to be set up, or maybe talking about some of the team members that your audience can expect to see at the booth, just things that are getting your audience excited for the trade show as well. Lastly, and probably one of the most important things, is really sharing valuable information to your audience that relates to your business and to your industry, right? A lot of people are coming to your social media to learn something and to gain insight and to gain a lot of value, right? So why not use your platform to share content about, maybe home renovation ideas or DIY projects, or what type of wood is good for best projects, right? I'm definitely not a builder, so I'm not sure what the correct terminology is, but I'm sure there's tons of information that you guys have to offer that your audience will find very, very valuable. And you definitely want to make sure you're sprinkling that into your content. Now, I'm a big advocate for scheduling your content in advance. When you're scheduling your content, as opposed to creating and sharing content on the fly, you can be a lot more strategic, right? You can actually sit down and think about, okay, do we have a theme for the month, or a theme for the week, or a focus that we want to create our content around? You can sit down, maybe block up some time. I like to say, you know what, I'm going to schedule time Thursday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. to write our content and go ahead and schedule it. When I put it in my calendar, it holds me accountable, and I actually end up doing it, right? Again, if you're trying to do it on the fly, you're going to find that you're running out of time, especially while you're preparing for the trade show. You have so many things going on, so why not plan ahead and prepare for a time where you know you're going to be extra busy? For Instagram, I recommend sharing 3 to 5 posts per week. If you want to do 7, one for each day of the week, that's totally fine too. But you want to be realistic with your time and with the amount of content you're able to prepare and schedule for your Instagram. So I think 3 to 5 is a really good number. It's not really so much about frequency, it's about consistency, right? So even if all you can manage is to do 2 posts a week, that's fine. At least you're going to be consistent with those weeks and with that content, and your audience is going to get accustomed to how often you're posting, and they're going to actually get really excited for when you are going to post your next piece of content, right? So don't overwhelm yourself trying to post extra tons of content. Just try to be consistent with the content that you are posting. For Instagram, you want to make sure you are researching hashtags to go along with your captions. Hashtags is what makes your content searchable on Instagram. Like Google, Instagram is a search engine, and when people are clicking on or typing in hashtags, that could connect them with your content. Now, you are allowed to have a maximum of 30 hashtags per post, but a couple of months ago, Instagram actually mentioned that it's better to use 3 to 5 hashtags per post in order to get the best results. So we've been using 5 on our content for the last few weeks, and we have seen a slight increase in engagement, which has been good. So that's what we're recommending to our clients and our audience, is to try and stick with 5 hashtags. When it comes to hashtags for Instagram, you want to include a mixture of hashtags that relate to your business and your brand, that relate to your target audience, and that relate to the location that you're operating in, whether it's a specific neighborhood, city, province, or some Canada-wide hashtags as well. Once you have that all researched and figured out, you want to pair your captions with brand photos. So photos of you, your team, your products, your shop, anything that relates to your business. If you don't have a lot of brand photos or any brand photos, of course you can use stock photos as well. We like to recommend Unsplash as a resource for stock photos. If you go to unsplash.com, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of high quality images that are at your disposal. So you don't have to create an account or anything. You just go on there, type in anything related to your business, and you'll probably find a lot of photos that you can use for your social media, and they're free as well. Canva is an online graphic design tool for the non-graphic designers, and they have a lot of stock photo options as well. There's a bit more options if you have the paid version of Canva, but the free version does give you at least a few to kind of start with. You can actually also use Canva to create graphics that you might need for your social media. So if you're creating promo graphics, not just for the trade show, but for your business and your products and services as a whole, or if you're creating infographics or quotes or anything like that, those are all things that can be done pretty easily in Canva, even with the free version of the platform. Now, when it comes to actually scheduling your posts, as of right now, you can't schedule anything directly within Instagram. I think they are working on launching something where you can actually schedule within the app, but for now, you do have to use a third-party app. So you can use something like Later Media, Planoly, or you can even use Facebook Creator Suite to schedule your Instagram content. Facebook does own Instagram. They bought it many, many years ago. So you actually can connect the two, or should connect the two. And through Facebook, if you want to, you can go ahead and schedule your Instagram content. So if you're already scheduling content for Facebook, you might as well do it for Instagram as well. When you're scheduling content, you want to make sure you don't forget about Instagram stories and reels. You actually can schedule your Instagram stories using Planoly and Later. If you do that, you want to make sure you have the app on your phone, because it won't post to your Instagram automatically. What happens is, if you schedule a story using Later, for example, and you schedule it for Thursday at 9 a.m., what will happen is your app will give you a notification to remind you that you want to post a story at that time. When you click that notification, it'll open up for you, queue up your story, and then you can go ahead and publish it to your account. The same thing works for Planoly as well. You also want to think about your Reels, because Reels is something that came out a few months ago with Instagram, and they're still taking the platform over by storm. Unfortunately, there's no platform you can use to schedule your Reels, but you can create drafts of your Reels and post it on a day and time that works best for you. Another thing you want to do to prepare your Instagram before your trade show is to make sure that your bio is updated. And maybe your bio is fine as is, but take a look just to make sure you have all your ducks in a row. So make sure in your profile picture, it's an image that's clear and sharp and that represents your company. A headshot is best if you are a solo entrepreneur, or you can use a company photo or company logo. If you do have a team photo, I recommend trying to use a photo that doesn't have too many people in it, because your Instagram profile picture is very small. And if you're trying to fit a team of 20 people into your profile picture, it's not going to come across very well to your audience. They're not going to be able to make out any faces or really see what's going on in your picture. So either a headshot or a company photo, or maybe it's a high quality photo of your storefront. That could work as well. You also want to make sure the link in your bio is present or updated. So in your bio, you should be linking to the homepage of your website, assuming everyone has one. But if for some reason you need to link to multiple external resources, you can use a third-party app like Linktree. What will happen is you can create multiple navigation buttons within Linktree, and at the end, it'll generate one link that you put into your bio. So let's say you want to direct your audience to your website's homepage, or your blog, or your Facebook page, or any other external resource. You can link all those using Linktree, and when people click on that one link, they can choose where they want to go. So that's one way to get around the fact that you can only have one link in your bio. Now, the actual description in your bio should clearly state who you are, what you do, and who you serve. So when people go to your Instagram, once they read your bio, they're going to decide whether or not they want to follow you, whether or not they're in the right place, and you want to make sure that it's clear. If your bio is currently ambiguous and by reading it, it's not really clear what you do or who your products or services are designed for, then you want to make sure you update it so that information is visible and apparent to your audience. Lastly, you want to make sure that your contact information is all correct and updated. There's a contact button on the business accounts for Instagram. So with the contact button, what happens is if your follower clicks on that button, it'll show them your phone number and your email address. So you want to make sure those are accurate so they have the correct contact information, and it just makes it easier for them to connect with you. You also want to refresh your Instagram highlights. So highlights are essentially Instagram stories that remain on your profile until you decide to remove them, because with Instagram stories, they disappear after 24 hours. However, they're all being archived in the back end of your Instagram account. So if you were to go and to create a highlight, all the stories you shared for the past 3 or 4 years have been stored in the back end of your Instagram, so you can add them to your highlights. You can't upload a video or photo directly to your highlight from your camera roll on your phone. It does have to be something that you've already shared previously to your stories. Now, when it comes to highlights, you want to make sure that they are clean and on brand and kind of fit the overall aesthetic for your account. So for example, with Home Depot, you can see all their highlight covers here, all the same brand colors and look pretty similar to their logo in their profile picture. And they've used these cute little icons to indicate what that highlight is about, along with appropriately labeling each highlight. So again, people who go to their profile know what information to expect once they click on one of these highlights. If you wanted to use one of these cute little graphics for your highlight covers, again, you can go into Canva, and they have a lot of free templates and graphics like these that you can use as your covers. You can also use just your logo as the highlight cover for every single one if you want to, or maybe you're just using a color and that's it. So maybe these are all just orange and blank, that's fine too, as long as they're consistent and they're on brand, and it's going to be easy for your audience to kind of sift through your different highlights. Now, I recommend you create or pare down to 5 to 10 highlights max. So as you can see here, when someone's looking at your profile, they can only see 5 highlights at a time. If you have more, that's fine. They do have to scroll through to see the rest of them. So if you have 20 highlights, they're going to be scrolling forever to kind of get through all of them, right? And the idea with highlights is that it's key information that your audience wants to refer back to on a regular basis. So you shouldn't need that many highlights anyways, right? Information that's temporary or only applies to a certain group of people, those are things that can be shared to your stories periodically. They don't have to necessarily be in a highlight, but some ideas of what you want to include in terms of highlights could be, how-to ideas or DIY projects, some of the key products and services that you offer, information about your company or about your store. You can include your contact information, hours of operation, location, things like that, company history. You can also have a highlight just for general tips or home renos or any specials that you might have going on. So really think about your business and what really makes sense for your target audience and what you think they want to see on a regular basis. When you are refreshing your highlights, if you have highlights already, make sure you go through them and you are removing highlights that are outdated or irrelevant, right? So if you have highlights from a trade show from 5 years ago, chances are people aren't going to be that interested in seeing that from 5 years ago. So why not remove that and either create a new highlight for something else that's a bit more relevant, or add in stories from the trade show from, I would say last year if you had one, but if you did have one last year, maybe use that one instead of the one from 5 years ago, right? So you want to go through your highlights and remove content that's very outdated or that's going to be irrelevant to your current audience, and add new ones that are of interest or of value. Another thing you want to do to prepare your Instagram is to do a countdown in your Instagram stories. So what you would do is, if you go to share a story and you upload a video or a photo of some sort, all you have to do is you'll click on a little square happy face icon that appears here when you are sharing a story or editing a story. And you want to click on the countdown sticker, and it'll open up this little graphic here. What you then want to do is input the start date and time of the trade show, and you want to put the trade show title here and share it to your stories. So now when your audience sees your stories and they look back at this, they can choose to set a reminder. So when the event is about to start, they'll get notified as a reminder that the trade show is happening on this day and this time, right? So it's just a way to put this into their reminders, and hopefully they put it into their actual physical calendar and they will be reminded to attend the event. Now, Facebook is definitely still relevant. It really depends on who your target audience is, but there's still an audience on Facebook who does engage with business pages. Typically, when it comes to Facebook, the age demographic is usually 45 and over. So if that's the age group of your target audience, then definitely Facebook is probably a good avenue for you. Not to say that Instagram isn't, but I think Facebook is definitely at least a good secondary platform. Now, when it comes to your Facebook, some of the checklist items are similar to Instagram. So posting fresh content so people have new information to see and engage with. Scheduling your content so you are free to do other things that need to be taken care of in preparation for the trade show. Updating your profile. You can even create a Facebook event for the trade show if you're allowed to do that. And you can collect new reviews. So when it comes to posting fresh content to your Facebook page, it's pretty similar to Instagram. So again, sharing posts with information about the trade show, including key information about who the trade show is for, how they can register, what to expect from your booth, things like that. You can also share information about your company, just like Instagram. So again, when you were established, key products and services that you offer, and things that make your company stand out. What is different for Facebook is that you can actually include links within your content. When it comes to Instagram, if you include a link into your captions, it's not clickable and people aren't going to copy and paste that into their browser, right? So links in Instagram captions are irrelevant, but they are highly relevant and really valuable when it comes to Facebook. So one thing you can do there is look at any articles or videos or anywhere else you're finding some news that relates to your industry, and share that to your Facebook page just to show that you are still in the know and that you're giving people updates about what's new in the retail lumber industry. You can also link back to your blog as well. So again, if you have a website and you have a blog, you can link to different blog articles that you think might be of value to your target audience. Even if they're blog posts that you've written 6 months ago, a year ago, as long as you're still relevant and your audience can still find value in those blog posts, why not link them periodically to your Facebook page so new people can find that information. And then again, just like Instagram, you want to share tips and tricks that your audience will find valuable. So again, maybe it's about DIYs, home renovations, information about different types of products and things like that. Scheduling your content, again, pretty much the same type of thing as Instagram. It's really beneficial to kind of sit down and batch create your content. So scheduling time to create a bunch of content at once and going ahead and scheduling it. Like Instagram, I do recommend trying to share 3 to 5 posts per week. Again, if you can only share 2, that's fine as long as you're being consistent and what you're sharing is valuable. If you're only sharing 2 posts per week, you definitely don't want them both just to be promos. If you're always promoting your products and services and that's it, not giving any additional value, people aren't going to want to stay connected to your company or to your page. They're going to unfollow, they're going to unlike, and they're not going to engage with you, and they're not going to become clients or customers, right? So you want to make sure you're including values, tips and tricks, and other company information. And just like Instagram, you want to pair your captions with some sort of media, so images, videos, or graphics. Even though you can post to your Facebook page without an image, Instagram, you always have to have a picture or a video attached to it. Facebook, you can create a post with just text, but I always recommend attaching some sort of media because that is what's going to draw in your audience, right? If they're just scrolling through a whole bunch of text, it's going to be uninteresting and they're not going to want to click on your content or engage with it. So always attach a photo or an image where you can. Again, you can use platforms like Later or Planoly to schedule your Facebook content if you want to, but like I mentioned before, Facebook does have its own Facebook Creator Suite where you can write your captions and schedule them for a later date. So for Facebook, it does kind of make sense to do it all within its own app if you can. And then don't forget about stories. So there are Facebook stories as well. Instagram stories are more engaging and they perform better on that platform. But what I usually recommend and what I do personally is anytime I share stories to Instagram, I just push it automatically to Facebook as well, just so I'm having my story content visible on my page too, right? Because there still is an audience on Facebook. No, they don't engage with stories the way they do on Instagram, but it's still valuable information. And honestly, you can post to both platforms with a click of a button, so why not? Now, when it comes to updating your Facebook page profile, again, same things like Instagram. You want to make sure your profile picture is clear and sharp, and either it's a headshot of you as the head of your company, or maybe it's just your company logo. What's different with Facebook is that you have a cover image on your Facebook page as well. So your cover image you can use to either include a picture of your storefront, or maybe if your profile picture is a picture of you, maybe your cover image is a picture of your logo, or maybe it's a picture of your whole team, because again, the cover image is a bit bigger than your profile picture, right? So if you do have a picture of your 10, 20 person team, it should be really visible on your cover image. So that could work there as well. Or you can make a graphic of some sort using Canva to create a promo graphic for the trade show. So anytime someone goes to your Facebook page, they can see the cover image and the trade show information, and they're reminded or informed about this event coming up in January. With the About section of your Facebook page, again, same thing. It should be clear who you are, what you do, who you help. So you want to make sure that is updated on Facebook, and make sure your contact information is updated as well. So make sure you include a link to your website, your phone number, your email address, and your location and hours of operation if you are a brick and mortar. Another thing you can do on Facebook, if you're allowed to, again, you have to double check with WRLA, but you could either create a Facebook event inviting your audience to the trade show in January, or even just sharing their Facebook event to your page just to get the word out. So if you are allowed to create your own Facebook event, you just want to make sure you include key information like the event name, event start date, and time, location, description, and then in your description, you want to make sure you include a link or information for where people can register or get tickets. And you'll also need a cover image for the Facebook event as well. So again, it's either something you can make in Canva, or maybe the WRLA has an image you can use. Again, make sure you ask their permission first if you are thinking about creating a Facebook event. I should ask them first if that was allowed, but you can ask them just to make sure. Another thing people often forget about is Facebook reviews. So having reviews on your Facebook page shows credibility within the industry and helps to build trust among your target audience, right? It shows that you've had customers who have bought from you and love your product or your customer service, or people who are obtaining your services in some capacity and like working with you, right? So what you should be doing is contacting either your past customers or current customers, clients, and asking them if they can help you out by leaving a review on your Facebook page if they've had a pleasant experience. If you're someone who is B2B, like business to business, and your client base, you should make that a part of your process when you're working with those clients, right? So maybe after you've been supplying to them for the last 3 months, maybe that's the part where you say, hey, we've been working with you for 3 months. We would love to get your feedback, collect their honest feedback. And again, if their experience with you has been positive, invite them to leave a review on your Facebook page. What's nice about reviews is that if someone is Googling your business, depending on how many reviews you have on your Facebook page or how good they are, these reviews might pop up on a Google search engine results page. So the first page that pops up when someone types something in related to your business, that could pop up, right? So it could help you gain more traction to your Facebook page. All right, moving on to Twitter. I'm just gonna check the time real quick. Okay, so moving on to Twitter. Twitter is really bite-sized information on the go. Same type of thing when it comes to preparing your Twitter account, posting fresh content, scheduling content, updating your profile, and starting conversation using a branded hashtag or the hashtag that's being used to promote and talk about the trade show. So when it comes to fresh content, it's pretty similar to the other platforms as well. Like Facebook, you can include links within your tweet. So why not share industry news or link to your blog posts or videos that you think will be of value to your target audience, along with promos, information about your products and services in your company, and tips and tricks that your audience will find value in. Scheduling your content for Twitter, also really good. I am going to talk about tweeting live or tweeting on the go while you're at the trade show, but I still recommend you do schedule your tweets just to make sure, again, that you have time to get that content out there. It's going to save you so much time in the long run, and it's going to help you be a bit more strategic. When it comes to Twitter and how often you should be tweeting, I always recommend sharing 2 to 3 tweets per day, 3 to 5 days per week. So if you're gonna post 3 days a week, each of those 3 days, you should tweet 2 to 3 times and try to spread it out a little bit. So maybe you're doing 1 tweet in the morning or 1 in the afternoon, 1 in the evening, just so it's not too back to back. So if you're tweeting 2 to 3 times, 3 to 5 days per week, in total, you would be scheduling or creating content for 6 to 15 tweets total each week. So again, if you're strapped for time or you're getting new into Twitter or new into content creation, start small and maybe do 2 tweets per day, 3 times a week. So really you only have to create 6 tweets. It's a lot of numbers, but it makes sense. Like Facebook, you can tweet with just text and that's it, but I still recommend attaching, again, some sort of media. So either a image or graphic you create using Canva, or a video of some sort, or even a GIF. So a GIF is just like a little animation that moves for about 3 to 4 seconds. And again, it just makes it more eye-catching. A lot of people are sending lots of tweets and just tons and tons of text. So when someone comes across a video or a GIF or an image, it stops them in their tracks and it kind of gets their attention, right? And that's what you want. You want that attention and you want that engagement. Again, you can use platforms like Later, Planoly, or Buffer to schedule your Twitter content. And don't forget about to tag WRLA when you are talking about the trade show, right? If you're tagging them, they can retweet your promos, and it helps them, and it helps you, and it helps to really build conversations on Twitter about the trade show. So make sure you tag them. Like the other platforms, you want to make sure your Twitter bio is updated as well. Same thing, profile picture of you or your logo, a cover image as well. Make sure your bio answers who you are and what you do and who you help, and then include a link to your website. Another thing you want to do on Twitter is to start a conversation. So if you start or join a conversation about a trending topic that relates to your industry or to your target audience, it's going to garner some buzz and some traction, and hopefully, again, get people not only interested in the trade show, but interested in your business kind of as a whole, right? So all you have to do is you can kind of look into Twitter and see what topics are trending or what hashtags are trending. If there's a trending topic that relates to your industry and your audience, you can talk about that and create content around that. Or you can just use your own hashtag, your own branded hashtag, and start a conversation about anything that relates to your industry and your target audience. Again, make sure you're tagging accounts like the WRLA so they can join in on the conversation, or so they can retweet your content to their audience as well. All right, so we talked about how to prepare Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter before the trade show. Now we're going to dive into social media during the actual trade show. So one thing you definitely want to do, especially if Instagram is your primary platform, is post to Instagram stories throughout the trade show. So I recommend posting to your stories 10 or more times throughout the day. Not every post has to be a video or the perfect photo. It's just kind of snapshots of the day. So your audience who isn't attending can kind of feel like they're there, and they can get some information about the show and about your business and what you have to offer. So, make sure you kind of spread it out. So maybe you're doing a couple of stories in the morning, a couple early in the afternoon, and a couple later in the day, depending on the time frame of the trade show. You can share updates about how the show is going, what's happening at your booth, what attendees can expect from the show if, tickets registration is still open even after the trade show started, just things that your audience might need to know. Get your whole team involved as well. So whoever's working at the booth, get them involved, get them in front of the camera, talking about what's going on, talking about the show, talking about the business, talking about your products and your services. And if you are talking about your team, be sure to tag them if they're comfortable with that. If you tag your team in your stories, they can reshare it to their stories, and now their audience is also seeing it too, right? So it really kind of depends on what the culture is like around social media with you and your team. But I know personally, when I'm talking about my team members, I always tag them in my content so they can reshare it and share it to their audience as well. Like Twitter, you want to tag the WRLA as well in your stories so they can choose if they want to reshare it to their platforms. You also for sure want to include interactive stickers, right? So once you go and open your stories, and there's a little square happy face that appears here when you open your stories, these are the interactive stickers you can be using, right? So I definitely recommend using the poll sticker. This allows your audience to choose between two options when you ask them a question. So you can ask them, hey, are you going to be attending the trade show today or tomorrow? And then you can write that question, and then you can update this poll to say today or tomorrow. And then when your audience is watching your stories, they can click on either option, and you'll get to see who voted for which one. You can see who's coming today, who's coming tomorrow, and it'll also give you a percentage. It might say, 42% is coming on Thursday, and I have to do math now, 58%. 40, whatever is coming tomorrow, right? It'll tell you, kind of give you an idea of what percentage of your audience is coming on which day. It doesn't have to be that question, but that's an example you can use. If you use the question sticker, that allows you to ask your audience an open-ended question. So the poll is you asking the question and getting them to choose between two options. And the question is asking an open-ended question where they can type in their answer and send it to you. So you can ask them, what information would you like to, hear from us when you come visit our booth, or which products and services do you have questions about? It doesn't have to be directly about the trade show, but just things that might be of value to you to know about your audience and what they want from you and your business. The quiz sticker is really fun as well. The quiz sticker is supposed to be like a quiz, like a test, right? So the idea is you're asking them a question and you type in the answers, and you're supposed to select the correct answer to that question, and they can kind of guess what the right answer is, right? So you can ask them, I'm trying to think of a question that might be relevant to your industry, but you can ask them, you know, what's the best type of wood to use to make a table? And then you can write in, you know, cedar, birch, other types of wood. And the idea is, again, one of those answers is supposed to be correct. And again, it's a fun way for them to kind of engage with your content, but also learn something about the industry and about your products and services in the process. So that one's a really fun one. You can jazz up your stories by using music. So if you do have a business account, you don't have access to popular music, unfortunately, but there is more like background elevator type music that, even though it's not, you know, top 40, it still helps to add a bit more interest to your stories, especially if you're just sharing photos or just, you know, a panoramic video of what's happening at the trade show. Of course, if you're talking to your audience in your stories, then you don't need music, so you want them to be able to hear you, but that is an option. If you are talking in your stories, which I highly recommend, you do always, as a best practice, want to use the captions feature because it does make it more accessible to your audience, right? There are some people who watch stories on silent just because they're at work or they're doing something else where they can't really listen to it, but they're still watching it. And it's also accessible to people who are deaf or hard of hearing, right? So when you're talking to your stories or to your audience in stories, the captions button will translate your speech into text. You can change it. So sometimes it doesn't pick up everything 100%. Usually it's pretty good, but you can click on the text and change it where it needs to be updated. During the event, you can also go live on Instagram. I know a lot of people get nervous about live video, but honestly, it's a great way to engage with your audience in real time. And actually, you can go live on Facebook and Twitter as well. You don't have to go live on all three platforms, especially if you're just using one main platform, that's fine. But going live during the trade show could be a great way to engage with your audience who might not be there yet. If you are going to go live, I would say give your audience like a 20-minute heads up. So maybe pop into your stories and say, hey, it's 12:10 right now. At 12:30, we're going to go live and take you behind the scenes of the trade show for those of you who can join us today. And then when you are live, again, you can walk them through a tour of the show or maybe just a tour of your booth, introduce them to your team, answer some questions they may have in real time, and just engage with them so they kind of feel like they're there with you. Something I also really highly recommend is to gather reel footage while you're at the trade show. So like I mentioned, reels came out, you know, a few months ago, and they are a great way to engage with your audience. So if you're unfamiliar with reels, it's pretty similar to TikTok, where people are making videos of 60 seconds or less. And it's usually like fun, cute, exciting kind of videos where, you know, you are maybe doing a little bit of a dance, but like incorporating information about your business, or maybe it's your team doing a dance and introducing your team that way, or maybe you found a funny audio clip from a show or from a song that you like that kind of makes sense and you can somehow relate it back to your business. Reels, I wish they're a bit more intuitive. It does kind of take practice to understand reels and how they work. So if you have questions about that, feel free to shoot me a DM afterwards on Instagram, but reels are really great for boosting up your engagement. So while you're at the trade show, try and get a lot of footage of, you know, the show in general, of your booth, maybe the booth of some companies that you work with closely. Get videos of your team like dancing around and having fun and having a good time. So afterwards, you can create a reel to kind of recap what the trade show was like and share that with your audience. Another thing you want to do during the trade shows is post to your feeds consistently throughout the week. Again, your content should be scheduled already, so you should already be having a post going out, but I do more so mean like on the fly, right? So if you are using Twitter, for example, as one of your main platforms, even though you've scheduled tweets, that's fantastic. Still provide some quick updates about what's going on at the show. Again, take some pictures, take some videos, incorporate that into your Twitter content. Use your hashtag or the hashtag for the trade show to connect with other attendees or other booths who are there as well, just to keep the conversations going. Hashtags, I kind of just mentioned that already, but hashtags are a great way to kind of categorize your content. So I recommend either choosing or creating a branded hashtag to use throughout the event on Instagram and on Twitter. So for me, for example, my business is Strategic Charm Boutique. We put hashtag strategic charm in all of our content. And that's something we promote to our audience and to our clients. So anytime they post about us, they usually use that hashtag as well. So you might already have a hashtag you're already using for your brand, but you can also create one as well. Encourage your team to use your hashtag on their platforms if they're posting. Encourage your attendees to use your hashtag and to tag you in content if they're taking pictures with you or at your booth. And again, you can use the hashtag for the trade show in your Instagram and Twitter content as well. Hashtags can be used on Facebook, but they're pretty irrelevant there. So I don't recommend trying to use hashtags on Facebook. It's just not going to get you any traction. Like I mentioned, you want to live tweet as well, even though you are scheduling some of your Twitter content. I recommend sharing, maybe 5 tweets each day. If you can only do 2 or 3, that's fine too. But share a couple tweets throughout the day just to update people on what's going on in the trade show. Again, showing behind the scenes, showing your booth, talking about your products a little bit or your services, and just giving them, some highlights of the day. Again, use your hashtags, tag WRLA so they can retweet or join in on the conversation, and always attach a photo or a video to gain more interest and engagement. You also want to include your social media handles and your hashtag if you have one on all of your printed materials, like your business cards, pamphlets, maybe you have some quarter page flyers, anything you're giving out to people, make sure you have your social media information on there so they can engage with you and follow you during or after the trade show. You can also create signage on your table that has your social media information. So even if you just have, you design a quick graphic in Canva and you're creating like an 8x10 paper that says your company name, your social media handles, or hashtag. You can even just put in like a cute little picture frame and have it on your booth. So when people walk by, they can see that you're on social media and they can connect with you on there. If your business is B2B, so again, your business that works with other businesses, when you're talking with people, ask them for their social media. Say, hey, are you on Instagram? We'd love to follow you. So you can follow them during the trade show, and hopefully after you can stay connected with them. Liking their content, engaging with their content is going to help you build relationships with those people, and hopefully they become clients or partners later on down the road. One thing you can do, I wouldn't say you have to do it, but you could host an Instagram giveaway. I do think out of Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, Instagram is probably the best platform to host a giveaway. So I would say on day 1 of the trade show, post some giveaway information to your Instagram feed. And typically to enter, what you have people do is you tell them they have to follow you, they have to like the giveaway post, and tag multiple people in different comments as part of their entry. When you're at the trade show and you're talking with people, encourage them to enter. Say, hey, you know what? We're doing a giveaway on Instagram. Feel free to follow us. Here's the post that you want to look out for. You can follow the information there for how to enter. You want to make sure the prize is something that relates to your business and to your target audience or ideal client or customer. If you're giving away something generic, that could be okay depending on what your business is or who you're trying to target, but try and create a package of some sort that's going to gain more interest in your business, right? So for me, I am in marketing and social media, so I wouldn't give away a Tim Hortons gift card because everyone probably wants that, but not everyone who wants that is going to be an entrepreneur who needs help with their marketing, right? So you want to be strategic with what you're giving away to your audience. And you can use a platform called Random Name Picker. That's literally what it's called. All you have to do is Google it, and it's the first thing that pops up. You use that to draw a winner after 2 or 3 days after the show, because you want to give your audience more time to enter, especially if they're just hearing about it for the first time on the last day of the trade show. This platform to use to draw a name, it's free, it's pretty easy. It just connects to your Instagram account briefly, and then it'll pick a random name from all the comments of people who entered your giveaway on Instagram. As far as social media after the trade show, again, you're probably going to be really, really tired, but as long as you have a checklist of things you want to do after, it helps you stay on top of things and make sure that you are not too overwhelmed with trying to stay connected with your audience on social media. It's just a quick little simple list. So one thing you can do is go live again on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, just to do a recap of the show. It doesn't have to be, the day of the last show or the next day. It could be a couple of days after. Give yourself some time to kind of recover, recuperate, and maybe I think the show ends on a Friday. So maybe on the Monday, you're going to do a live to kind of recap the show and talk about what went down. When you're doing a live, make sure you let your audience kind of know what's next for your company. Maybe you have any other trade shows coming up that you're part of, or sales or new products, new services. Just kind of let them know what's coming up for you. You also want to share a few Instagram stories to recap the show. So maybe there are people who miss the live video that you're going to do. So do some stories to talk about how the show went, how many people showed up, if that's something that you want to emphasize, and just so people kind of know how everything went down. You can also create a temporary highlight on Instagram, compiling all the stories that you shared during the show. So like I said before, you don't want to have highlights from events that happened years ago. So maybe have a highlight for the trade show that's there for, a couple of months. And then after that, you can remove it and add in some more valuable and relevant content. But having a highlight for now would be nice for people, again, who couldn't make it, but still want information about what happened at the show, who was there, and what role you had in the show. You also want to take the footage that you gathered throughout the trade show to create a reel. So a reel could just be as simple as making it more like a slideshow. So you're putting a bunch of videos together within reels and adding a song to it, and that's it. Add a little bit of a caption so people kind of know that it's a recap of the event, and then you're good to go. You also want to make sure you remember to announce your giveaway winner. So you want to make sure you include the date that the giveaway is closed in that caption so people know how much time they have to enter. Make sure you've responded to all comments and DMs you received across all of your different platforms, and continue sharing content. You don't want your content to go stagnant just because the show's over. Still continue sharing content on your platforms, because you are trying to build an online audience, and you're trying to build people who want to engage with you, are building trust in liking your company and wanting to convert to clients or customers down the road. So keep sharing content, keep engaging. If you did amp up your content leading up to the show, and let's say you were doing 2 posts per week before, and then for the show you're doing 4 or 5 just to amp it up a little bit. If you want to go back to scaling down a bit later, that's okay too, but you want to make sure you're still putting out content consistently every week. Now, I know that was a lot. I know I talk really fast, and honestly, I probably can talk for another 2 hours, but feel free to let me know if you do have any other questions. We will do some questions right now, but if you have any other questions after the fact, feel free to connect with me on social media or shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to answer those for you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Charmaine. That was fantastic. We think we all learned so much. While people are maybe thinking of some questions, feel free to add them to the chat function. We've got probably a bit of time for a couple. I wanted to mention a couple of things Charmaine had touched on. So if you want to make a Facebook event or something like that, feel free. The other fun thing, and I'm not sure if everyone who's attending got this email, but we sent out something where you guys can add in your booth and your logo. It's sort of like a kit, so you can kind of put your own. We've already kind of done the heavy lifting. So if you are interested, it's just a social media post that you can then share and get people kind of to come to your booth. So if you didn't receive that, feel free to email me. It's agomez@wrla.org. You can find me on our website if you don't have a pen for that. That is something too that if you just need some bonus content, you don't have to really do a lot. We've got that for you too. So if anyone has any questions, type them in the chat function. But I did have a couple that I'll get the ball rolling then. So Charmaine, the first question is, how do you find the right Instagram hashtags?
Good question. That's a question I get often because I think hashtags are very ambiguous for a lot of people. So honestly, it's a matter of just really doing your research. Open up Instagram, click on the search icon, and start typing in words that relate to your business or your target audience or your area. And what will happen is once you click on tags, it'll show you a list of hashtags related to the words that you've typed in. When they show you a list of hashtags, you want to look for hashtags that are not oversaturated or underused. So every time it shows you a hashtag, it'll tell you that it's been used with, 32 million posts. And if it's been used that much, chances are it's oversaturated and it's not going to help connect you with your target audience. Typically, I like to try and use hashtags that have been used less than 800,000 times. 800,000 is usually the sweet spot that I found for us and our clients. And that's where we kind of like to stay. So in addition to looking at how often these hashtags have been used, you want to make sure they're being used in a way that makes sense for your business, right? So I remember for me, I used to use hashtag Canadian creatives for a long time because I thought that would connect me with creative entrepreneurs in Canada. When I actually looked at it and clicked on it, it was photos and posts of a lot of Canadian landscapes and then me. And then more Canadian landscapes, and then me again. I'm like, okay, so that doesn't really make sense the way I thought it did, right? So make sure it's being used in the way that it makes sense for your business.
That makes sense. Another question that came up for me was, are there any rules or formalities when it comes to giveaways on social media?
Yeah, so with Facebook, they have their own guidelines. So I definitely recommend going to double check to confirm what they are. But one thing I'll tell you for sure about Facebook is that you can't ask people to like and follow your page as part of the entry for Facebook. So that goes against their terms of use. I don't know what happens if they catch you breaking that rule, but it's just something you want to avoid. So you can't ask people to like your page or follow your page in order to enter. However, you can on Instagram. So like I mentioned, in Instagram, I recommend when you are creating your giveaway caption, instruct your audience that in order to enter, they have to follow you, follow your account. They have to like the giveaway post, and they have to tag people in the comments who they think might like the prize as well. Each comment is a separate entry because the more times they comment, the higher your engagement goes and the more valuable it is to you. Another thing you want to make sure you do with Instagram is that there is a little blurb you have to use at the end of every giveaway caption that says that this post is no way sponsored or affiliated by Instagram. So make sure you have that in your caption there as well.
Awesome. Well, I don't see anyone chiming in with any more questions. So, if anyone has anything you can see, you can contact Charmaine directly, or you can email me and I can pass along the questions. So, thank you so much, Charmaine, for all this great information. And again, the recording will be on our website if you need to refer back before the showcase. So, we really appreciate all your hard work here, Charmaine, and all these tips. This has been wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Perfect. Thank you for having me.